Now, here's the other beautiful part about this. Look at what it says. It says, verse 19, and her husband Joseph, being a just man, so it's about being a just man. And then it says this, and unwilling to put her to shame, resolved to divorce her quietly. Here's the second beautiful thing we learn from Joseph. Yes, it's being a just man. What is the part of being about a just man? He looks to his wife, and he doesn't want to shame her, which means this. There are times in our life, as one writer has said, the balance of manhood is the pendulum swing between being tough and tender. There are moments in our life where we need to be tough. We need to be tough with the guy trying to sell us a car. We need to be tough with the teenage kid who shows up on our doorstep trying to date our daughter. All right, we need to be tough. Tough in those moments, tough in those moments, tough in those moments. Then there are moments in manhood when you need to be tender. And when are those moments? They're with your wife. All right, you need to be tender with your wife, the way you talk to your wife. Some of you men, you talk to your wife like you talk to the men. You need to repent. You don't talk to your wife in a powerful way, in an intimidating way, in a way that cuts her down. I can't tell you how many phone calls I've had with women crying on their line saying, he said this to me. All right, and the things he said didn't build her up. They crushed her. Right? The time to look at what he's doing. He's like, I don't want to put her to shame, man. I don't want people. See, in that culture, people could have stoned Mary for being pregnant outside of marriage, could have killed her. And he goes, I have this tender, my wife, I want to care for my wife, I want to love my wife. Now, here's what it looks like for men. You got to start to listen. You got to start to learn from your wife. The way you treat her, you got to start to understand your wife in such a way that, man, when she says something, you're learning from it. All right, in such a way that, like my wife called me this week, okay? It was Friday. I had a busy week. I was working on my sermon because I'd had a bunch of meetings, and Friday was the day I could kind of spit out a bunch of stuff. So I got books all over the place, and I'm writing. Friday just flies by, and she calls me up. She says, hey, so it's like 5 o'clock. You coming home? Oh, yeah, I'm coming home. And she's like, you know what would be great? What if you contacted me at least once a day? Now, in my world, all right, now, here's a big principle, all right, guys. In my world, I was like, jeepers, once a day? It seems like a lot. Like, what is it that you're what kind of trouble are you getting into in 8 hours? I don't understand why I have to check in and make sure everything is okay. But in that moment, so what I did is I set an alarm on my phone. Just said, hey, every day you're gonna bing, it's gonna bing and say, hey, hey, text Aaron, call her, and that's. I mean, don't tell her that because then that seems religious and legalistic. It has to come out of love. But so I gotta get in touch with my wife once a day and check in. Now, here's the principle out of this. All right, to a man, not everything your wife suggests to you, as you listen and learn and become tender to her, because that's what you're going to walk out of here doing, is going to seem rational. All right? Not everything that your wife says to you is going to seem logical. Some of it will seem to make no sense. Now, here's the principle. You need to do it, not because it makes any sense at all, but because, and listen, this is enough. It's just because she wants you to do it. That's it. It doesn't have to be rational. It doesn't have to be logical. It can be, man, you know what? This is so important to me, and I know in your, the man brain, this isn't translating, but you need to do this for my good. And then men, you listen and you learn and you're tender is, okay, I'll do it, even though it doesn't seem to make rational sense to me. That's the reality. I have had my wife look at me in the past and say, listen to me, I don't like when that woman talks to you in that way, and I don't want you spending any more time with her. And I've said to myself, that doesn't seem to make any sense. Right? I'm pastoring, I'm shepherding, I'm loving, right? My naive self, right? And she's like, listen, I don't like the way she looks at you, and I want you to stop having meetings with her. And here's what I had to come to terms with. As illogical as it sounded in my man brain, I had to do it just because that's what she wanted. That's the call of a man for his wife, is to say, you know what? And now, here's the swing back to the man, if you want motivation, man. There's a reason that there's that phrase, happy wife, happy life. All right? It's just true. So you have the logic, and he's looking at his wife, and he's like, I want to serve my wife well. I want to do the things that my wife wants me to do because I want her to flourish. In Men of Village, Joseph's life is going, man, what would it be like to have a church of men who look to their spouse and says, I want you to flourish, not so much me flourish, but you flourish. Not so much me flourish, but you flourish, all right?